Hello and welcome to the Classic Hollywood Movie You Should Know. I'm your host Nate Washburn, and this week the movie is from 1940, The Great Dictator. Written and directed by Charlie Chaplin and starring Charlie Chaplin himself. Now, The Great Dictator tells the story of this Jewish barber. It's the tramp character. It's Charlie Chaplin's famous tramp character who, at the end of World War I, he saves this officer, becomes a hero. However, he gets amnesia, so the war ends and he goes into a hospital. When he gets out of the hospital, the country of Tumania has unfortunately been taken over by Adenoid Hinkle and his minions. Hinkle, of course, is a parody of Adolf Hitler. Tumania stands in for Germany. Now, the thing is, the Jewish barber with amnesia and Hinkle, they look exactly alike. Climax, the barber and Hinkle get confused for each other, and instead of Hinkle making this big pro-war speech, the Jewish barber has to get up in front of the entire crowd. The entire world is listening on radio, and he gives this wonderful speech asking for peace and humanity. Now, there's a few stories as to why and how Charlie Chaplin started working on this film. The Nazis themselves released the movie Triumph of the Will, which was directed by Leni Riefenstahl, their own sort of propaganda that portrayed the Nazi soldiers as supermen. It freaked people out. It frightened people. There were reports that Chaplin thought it was hilarious. He couldn't believe the ridiculousness, the pageantry of these people, that he thought it made them look silly. Charlie Chaplin himself was kind of obsessed because he had a lot of similarities with Hitler. They were born 4 days apart. Chaplin's birthday is April 16th, 1889. Hitler was born on April 20th of 1889. They were both approximately the same height and weight. They had the same mustache. So they kind of look similar. So it only makes sense that Chaplin would make this movie making fun of Adolf Hitler. Now, Chaplin started working on the story, started working on the script and the ideas and the music in 1937. Now, at that point in time, the world was still at peace. Britain announced that, once Chaplin had announced he was making this movie, they said they would ban it because they were practicing a policy of appeasement. They didn't want to piss off Germany. Other studio heads, other production people, friends of his tried to convince Chaplin not to make this movie because the U.S. was neutral. They didn't want to piss anybody off. They didn't want to get ensnared in Europe's problems. So why go for this movie making fun of Hitler and the Nazis? However, as Chaplin's working on it, President Roosevelt sent Harry Hopkins to visit Chaplin. Harry Hopkins was his Secretary of Commerce. He was one of Roosevelt's closest advisors and told him that Roosevelt thought the movie was a great idea. Chaplin completed it in 1940. The movie was released October 15th of 1940 as the Battle of Britain. The Nazis are bombing Britain right now. They have not been turned away. France has fallen. Poland has fallen. This is before the Nazis attacked Russia. The war is looking bad. The Germans look like supermen. This movie came out at a perfect time. Chaplin shows them to be buffoons, and it's almost like a medicine that the world needed. Now, the movie was budgeted at $2 million. Chaplin financed the entire thing himself, and it turned out to be his most commercially successful film of his entire career. It grossed over $11 million worldwide. Now, when the Academy Award nominations came out in 1941, the movie was nominated for 5 awards. It got Best Score, Best Picture, Best Actor for Charlie Chaplin, Best Supporting Actor for Jack Oakie in his brilliant turn as Benzino Napoleone, and Best Original Screenplay. It unfortunately didn't win any of the Academy Awards, but that doesn't take anything away from this movie. It is, I think, The Great Dictator. So last week we did Buster Keaton's best film with The General. The Great Dictator, I would argue, is Charlie Chaplin's best film. So do yourself a favor, watch The Great Dictator from 1940. It is hilarious. It is sad and touching with the stuff that he shows in the Jewish sections of the film. It's a wonderful film. Check it out. This week's Classic Hollywood Movie You Should Know. I'm Nate Washburn. Keep watching.